Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Totalbiscuit. I'm here to ask and answer one simple question. WTF is Xotic? You may have heard that before. That's because we did it as part of the WTF-a-thon live stream. However, we had a ton of problems, like awful, horrible problems. And it was mostly because it didn't have a windowed mode. Those of you who don't know anything about XSplit know for a fact that streaming anything in full screen mode is quite difficult. You have to use something called game source, which doesn't always work properly and often drops a lot of frames. Depends on the game, of course. In the case of Xotic, yeah, that was exactly what ended up happening. It was not good. No, it was not. It was piss poor, in fact. So I wanted to do another video because this Xotic has had a fairly significant update and it was actually pretty good. So I wanted to show it off properly, I suppose. So it all comes from the fact that the Xotic devs actually thanked us for doing the video during the WTF-a-thon, which I'm very surprised by, honestly, because the video was quite frankly awful. I gave a good impression of the game, I said that I liked it, but the video quality was abysmal. And they actually decided, hey, we're going to do a giveaway of 1,000 copies of Xotic to your fans. So we actually gave away 1,000 copies of this game, which is one of the biggest game giveaways I've personally ever seen. It's fairly crazy. So I thought it was only fitting to actually do a proper video of this bloody thing and also give people an impression of what was going on with it. So, without further ado, let's have a look at Xotic. So Xotic is a first-person shooter by WXP, and it's also available on 360 if I recall correctly. And it's kind of a score attack shooter. It's an arcadey score attack shooter. It's not so much based around killing a bunch of enemies. In fact, the amount of enemies that are in levels is surprisingly low, but this game is more about getting the highest scores, combos, and actually getting high on the leaderboards. Curious to see how many of these games have gone back to the idea of high scores. That was a very old school ideal. It used to be the thing that everyone used to pursue back in the arcades, and then it faded for a bit. And I think with the advent of the internet, of course, YouTube and achievements, everything has come full circle, and it's back to who can do the best. I kind of like that, actually. I think that's a good thing. Now, this update actually includes a better tutorial, which I do like quite a bit because the tutorial in the first game was a little confusing, I have to say. This is unconventional in a variety of different ways, so let's kick it off, shall we? I'm going to continue from here so I can show you a few levels into this. Now, there is a skill system. You gain experience and you can unlock various skills and different hologram types right there. Those are your weapons. You've got a variety of different weapons available. You'll notice a curious organic nature to the menu system. There's a reason for that. If I were to look at my character, for instance, I could see there that we've got various upgrades that I can go for. Absorption 1, Health 1, Bark, Skin, and things like that. This is quite useful. And then if you go back to the trees, you'll then see the weapon system. These are, for the most part, secondary weapons, I believe. And you can activate those with the right mouse button. Alright. Let's continue our campaign. So, there's actually quite a lot of levels in this game. If I were to show you this set, the Underhome, for instance, you've got this massive grid of levels, and, well, that's a lot of hexagons. If we were to go back, then you'll then see there's then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, 8 of these giant zones, these regions as they're called, with a bunch of stuff here. Now, there are a variety of different types of level. Most of them sort of consist of doing the same thing, but there's a variety of different rules that they put in place. For instance, this one I'm about to do, you've got 4 minutes 15 to complete it, and you gather as much orb essence as possible before the time runs out. There's, of course, a leaderboard for this. And then you can look at more info as well, which gives you a little bit of information depending on which level you're going into, if you might come up against any kind of new hazards and things like that. It's always good. Now, this I think is new. I didn't see this the last time I played it. This is the standard campaign mode and then 3 other modes that are available here. So if I want to do Scab Attack, which is perhaps the worst name for a mode in history, destroy all the scab plants as fast as you can, I can do that. Brain Attack, destroy all the ore brains as fast as you can, and then Essence Attack as well. We're going to do the standard campaign mode and continue through here. Okay. So it's going to load into this, and the areas in each region do look quite similar, but the levels themselves are actually different. And here we go. And yes, I'm that weird creature with the... Oh, my. Alright, this is quite a large level. Okay, then. Alright, so I'm not going to go for high score here because I'm trying to demo really what's going on. You'll see these red things on the ground. These are what's called scab plants. It's a A very unpleasant thing to call them, I know. But the scab plants are required in order to earn high score, and they must be destroyed usually in order to actually win the level. Head our way up there. They also explode and will combo together in a chain reaction, so it's always a good idea to try and make that happen. Now, I had the power of flight. I'm not sure if I still do. I suppose there's one way to find out is to go through there. There we go. That'll give me an aerial combo. I think I lost my flight power up. Aerial combos will give you additional points. In fact, a lot of skill-based stuff will actually give you additional points, and the game is designed around that. Even accuracy is taken into account when your scores are added up towards the end. Looks like we have... Is that... I don't know. Is that angry with me? Whatever the case, I can't get through it, so I guess I'll probably have to come back to that. Destroying all brains is, once again, good for score. Everything really revolves around getting a score, but there are a lot of different factors in how you score. Including, of course, as I said, accuracy, speed, combos, air combos, different kinds of destruction, and all of the stats are actually recorded at the end of the game in a very, very detailed stats menu. I lost my combo there, which is, of course, unpleasant, but I feel that the game is designed around replaying levels multiple times in a similar manner to Dust Force, N+, I Want to Be the Guy, Super Meat Boy, and things like that. You know, you really have to replay levels in order to actually get the highest score, and that's always going to be the way of things. You're never going to get it the first time around, but that's good. A lot of people do enjoy that perfectionist style of game. I certainly prefer this a lot more to the platformers, I can tell you that for a fact, and that's mostly just because I don't really get along all that well with platformers. I get along better with FPS. You at least keep the combo rolling and then realize, well, there's no scabs around, so I can't really do anything at this point. Now, you can deploy what's called a hard hologram if you want to get to a part of the level which is difficult to reach, and it's really it's simply done that way, as you can see right there. And you hit the tab key as to where you want the hologram to go, and then you can land on it, and that's a good way to keep your momentum going. There we go. Ooh, a triple aerial combo. That's wonderful. And I missed the last one, but nothing's stopping me from getting back up there using the holograms. Assuming I don't balk it up. There we go, another aerial combo for additional 5,000 bonus points right there. It's always worth shooting certain things, because things like pots can be destroyed, and sometimes they can contain various power-ups and things like that. I have the feeling this guy can only be hit through there. There we go. And it turns out I was right. Also, there's a part of a brain there, which is bouncing all over the place. Please die. I want what's inside you. Not something you usually hear, I've got to say, and certainly not from me. Alright, up we go. I've got 1 minute left to get as many more points as possible, so let's try and make it as quick as we can. There we go. Cool, I was even able to combo that into something, as you can see. Get that, and then as they flew through the air, jump up there, collect the essence, and get a ton of aerial combos, which is good for everyone, as far as I'm concerned. Ah, flight power-up, okay. This is quite difficult to use. It takes quite a lot of precision. You've got to time it pretty much exactly right, otherwise it doesn't work properly. Flight might be useful for getting up there faster than using a hard hologram would be. Or you can combo the two together. And also do be careful, because you can actually do yourself an awful lot of damage if you decide that it's a good idea to run right into those things as they explode. It is not a good idea to run right into those things as they explode, as I think you've just figured out. There we go. A few more aerial combos. We are very close to finishing this level. And of course, this is a score attack for as much as you can get. Ah! There we go. Alright, let's see what our results are, and it's going to update the leaderboard and things like that. So, as you can see, that wasn't the ideal run, and it won't be until you practice it multiple times. Indeed, I didn't actually attain any of the goals. I didn't get a 100% terraform or anything like that. I did get a pretty good chain there, but apparently you can get an even better chain, because I didn't earn the star from that. And then I should get a difficulty multiplier, I think. Yes, that'll take it up to that, which puts me at 3,305th. So, yeah, that's pretty damn bad. Look through the stats, you're going to see a huge amount of stuff here. Even gives you all of this stuff, and this actually does give you points, as far as I can tell. Like, I got 75,000 points from aerial combos, I got 750 from wing flaps, and all of this other stuff that you can get there. Multi-kills, speed kills, fly kills. Yeah, and there's the level statistics. All sorts of pieces of information there. It very much is a quintessential score attack, only it is as an FPS, which is not that usual. It takes the idea of speedrunning in an FPS and actually turns it into a proper game, which is something that we've seen speedrunning be done in a lot of FPS. For instance, you've probably seen quite a few Quake 3 videos where people gain a lot of momentum and start bouncing around all over the place and gain a lot of speed. Here, gaining momentum does seem tricky, honestly. The gravity is quite low in this game, and that is obviously deliberate because you're in space or whatever. But gaining the kind of momentum you could do in, say, Painkiller or Quake 3 doesn't seem to be possible. It may be that I'm just not good enough. Alright. Let's have a look. So, we've got a few upgrades here. I've got some experience points to spend. I've unlocked Virus. And I've unlocked Slayer. Slayer is it. This is the only game I've ever seen that actually tells you what the FOV is on the sniper scope. That's fairly impressive. Needless to say, you can also change your FOV in the actual options menu as well. Fires a living insect that explodes with splash damage upon impact. I can also, if I so desire, upgrade this. This is my main shot here, which is quite nice. That's currently locked at the moment. Rocket flies, because hey, why the hell not? Can upgrade pretty much all of that. Virus sounds like fun. Let's grab that. There we go. And if we return to trees, now we can spend it in the rest. I've got a lot of experience. It seems like you can pretty much acquire everything as far as I can tell. There we go. On that. Looks like I've already got that. Yeah, that sounds like a good thing to get. There we go. That'll do for the moment. Alright, so that was the Underhome, and that was what was in it. Sadly, of course, it doesn't fill up the entire grid. It's just 4 levels there, but there are more here, as you can see. So let's go through to the next area then, shall we? Let's, hey, why not? I like to see the different style that they've got here. The art style is pretty awesome. I'm a big fan of the art style. It's quite unique. It's very colorful. The idea that, for instance, you can kind of beautify a world by destroying all these scab things is you know, it's quite an attractive idea. It's something we saw in games like Prince of... yeah, don't do that. That's a bad idea. Turns out that was explosive. Anyway, let's try that one again, shall we? As I was saying, yeah, beautifying an area, it's like we saw in Prince of Persia 2008, except that game was terrible. But the idea of making the land beautiful again is pretty cool. I'm certainly a fan of that. Looks like there are some enemies on this map, so I'm going to be a bit careful. Yes, that is a mine. Let us collect some delicious fruit. Here, natives. Have my whatever the hell this is. Yeah, the enemies in this game can be quite tough sometimes, but you won't see an awful lot of them. They put them in when they feel it's necessary to do so, but they don't throw a lot of them. Admittedly, I think like the enemy count is actually in the corner there, and I'm fairly sure that only shows 5 more enemies on this entire level. I also like the little announcer. That's very neat. In fact, like the entire style of this game actually oozes production values. Even the font they've used, I actually really like. The user interface is stylish. The game just oozes just a slick nature. Like they knew exactly what they were going for when it comes down to their art style. It's not thrown together. They weren't confused at all. They knew what they would want it to do once they started doing it, and they kept that art style pretty much the entire time, and as a result they made a somewhat unique looking game, to say the least. This guy's not taking a lot of damage, is he? Ah, leave me alone! Leave me alone! Also don't seem to have the energy to really do much. There we go, that should stun him for a moment. These are my secondary weapons. Right, you are dead, son. Ah, that was a mine! God. Ah! Yes, this game is a bit evil at times, I have to say. But it's got a lot going for it. Once again, I have to put in the usual caveat that I also put in with Dust Force, is that if speedrunning is not your thing, if say you're more interested in the cinematic experience, the storyline, then you are probably gonna hate it, because it doesn't really offer anything in that respect. The actual backstory is kind of weird and also rather neat in that respect, but there is no real story progression throughout the game. Basically, you defeat the whatever the hell evil thing. I can't even remember the name of it, actually. Is it the Orb? I think it's the Orb, or something along those lines. it's your job to cleanse the galaxy of this thing that's been infecting various worlds and return beauty to the galaxy and all that good stuff. And you do so by wearing plants on your head, which is, funnily enough, what I saw Athene doing during his anti-sober stream. So I guess that's just the thing that you do. Anything hidden in there? Yes, there are. Various little objects hidden around here. There's a lot of secrets hidden in this. If you want a full completion, you're going to have to play the game multiple times, play each level multiple times to figure out exactly where everything is, and then, of course, plan the optimum route. If you just want to play through and actually enjoy a little bit of power-up collecting and enemy shooting and score attacking, you can do so on a casual basis, and there is a lot... Ow! There's mines everywhere. There is a lot of content available there for you because each level has 4 different modes available, and there are a wide variety of different environments and modes to collect. Overall, I'd say that this game does quite a lot of things right. It's very, very unique. I think I would have preferred to have seen momentum being brought in just a little bit more in the sort of classic speedrunning style, because as you see, like, if I'm jumping here, I do gain a little bit of speed, but gaining momentum doesn't seem to be possible. Whereas in something like Painkiller, you can actually jump and jump and jump, and yes, it's unrealistic, but it's an arcadey style game. It's designed with that in mind. Well, I guess I'm not beating that level anytime soon. But no, that is not part of the game. It's not designed around that. There are quite a few trick jumps and trick shots that you can perform by using the flight power-ups, as well as, of course, attacking things in mid-air, getting combos, and using the hard light holograms. But momentum, not a factor, as far as I can tell. I'm going to have one last shot at this level, and then see how it goes. Let's try not to run into the mines this time, shall we? Clean out as many of these as possible. Oh, there was an orb brain hidden right behind me. That I did not know about. So we can collect everything there. There's also, of course, all sorts of stuff here. The actual design that's been put into the levels is quite impressive. There's a lot of work here. Every level has a lot of stuff hidden within it, which is, again, one of those things that we just don't see all that often in shooters. But this is not your normal everyday shooter under any circumstances. And I appreciate that. That's good. We don't need the same game over and over again. We certainly do not. You go away. In fact, I'm actually quite curious to know what's up there. There we go. There's an enemy right ahead of me. That should clean that out. Not too much of a problem. Get back here. There we go. I would like to get up there. Easy way to do that is, of course, to use the hard light holograms, but it does take quite a lot of time, and also if you bugger it up, then it doesn't really go all that well for you. There's even a brain hidden up there. All sorts of stuff all over the place. In fact, to actually figure out each level, I think it would take you an absurd amount of time. So, if you are a completionist, and if you're into speedrunning and stuff, I think you're going to spend a ton of time on this game. It's not all that expensive either. Last I checked, this is a $10 game. Not bad. Not bad at all. For an indie game, it's also, as I said, very, very good looking indeed. I think the aesthetic does help in that regard. It may not have the best graphical fidelity, but it certainly does look very unusual. Not the kind of thing that you would expect. In fact, if I don't screw this up, I can get an air combo there. Very nice, and that's quite satisfying. I like the fact that it does pop stuff up every now and again saying, hey, you did good. That's something that Call of Duty does, funnily enough. It's like, here, have badges, have rewards. We want to reward you for your performance. This game does the same thing, and is indeed designed around high-performance gaming and a lot of practice. But it's something you could also... There was a mine there, wasn't there? Ah! I was about to say, yes, this is a very zen casual experience. No, it's not, actually, but you can very much play it casually and actually get some enjoyment out of it. And if you so desire, you can press that share score via Facebook button. I don't really see why you want to do that, but hey, if you want to compete with your friends, why not? So, overall, I'd say that Xotic does have quite a lot going for it. As you can see, it's a very niche kind of game. A lot of people these days do want a story-driven narrative, and they're not going to get it here. There is no story-driven narrative whatsoever. What it does have is kind of an unusual world. Funnily enough, I'd like to compare this to another game. It was also an FPS that began with an X called Xenoclash. Xenoclash didn't really have a huge amount of story with it either, but it was about immersing you in this weird and wild world that wasn't really like anything else you'd seen before. Xotic's got the same kind of thing going for it. Once again, a niche product, but worth having a look at, in my opinion, if speedrunning is the kind of thing that you're interested in doing. Because you don't see a lot of that, what I'd like to call sanctioned speedrunning in FPS games. It's more of an unofficial thing. Here, it's actually integrated into the very core of the game mechanics. And honestly, it's executed pretty well. My name is Totalbiscuit, taking a look once again at Xotic. Hopefully that was a better look than the one we did on the stream. Same thing said, but a better quality video. I'll see you next time.